Hi, M2. This is Jim, VP of AdTech Engineering. Today we're going to go over how to test to see if the code that you set up on GDPR, either moving it from off-page to cookie wrap or on-page to cookie wrap, or any of the other analytics tracking tools that you moved, see if they're actually working. So first we've got to kind of get an idea of how a website works. What's really going on is whenever you call the URL, a bunch of other resources are called that deliver, like images, sound, scrolling functionality, all kind of different stuff. So what we want to do is you go to any website, you're going to right click and you go to inspect element, and what that's going to do is open up the dev tools here on the right. From there we want to look at networks to see what kind of calls are going out whenever we load this site. You have to, once you have the network tab open, you have to reload because the recording doesn't start till you have the tab open. So let's try this out. Hit reload, and as you can see, this is an example of all the network calls going out just from this one page load. And if you want to take a closer look, you can see there's a bunch of little JavaScript snippets. We got some GIFs, got a couple of images, all kind of stuff. What we're more interested in is what we were moving to cookie wrap to see if it's working though. So let's, from the source, if you would go to right click, view source, you would have something that looks like this. And you have the cookie wrap function, then you have your other functions like tag manager, DFP, and the like. And so that's what we have over here. Okay, so now we have our examples of the scripts that would be outside of the cookie wrap function on the page here on the left. And on the right, we have the same scripts placed inside of the cookie wrap function as per instructions on the last video. So what we want to do first to test to see if this is even working is let's see how the code works outside of cookie wrap. So what we're going to do here, I'm going to use a package in my text editor that lets me just save this file and open it up as an HTML document. If you don't have that, don't worry. You just have to save this code that you would have set up as .html and then open the file and you'll get the same behavior that we're about to see here. So I'm going to open this up. And you see we have a blank HTML page that we can test. Alright, so from here you'll see that there's no information or anything on the page, it's totally blank. That's normal. We don't have any HTML, we don't have any CSS, we don't have anything to show. What we're really doing is just testing to see if these network calls work. So we're going to do the same thing we did earlier. We're going to go to inspect element, we're going to go to the network tab, and then we're going to reload the page. Now you can see all these network calls going out. And now we just want to cross-reference what we had on page and see if these are all working. So we see over here we have Google Tag Manager. You can look through all of these if you want, but notice that how much there is here. And this is a totally blank page. On a normal web page, you're going to see a ton more than this. So kind of scrolling through here is not very time effective. What you can do is just check the URLs, right? So we have Google Tag Manager here. Come up into the filter. Google Tag, and I can see two things going on. I see a call going out to Google Tag Manager, which is, looks like that's what we want, right? This matches, this URL matches this, so that call is working. And this header tab shows you the call that goes out, shows you the type of call it is, if it made it to where it's trying to go, which 200 means it worked. And you can also see the response if you like, which is just going to be a bunch more JavaScript. So let's move on to the next thing. We have page add to. Let's just check that out. We can see ads by Google, and in the header, same thing. That's the right ad, or that's the right URL, and status 200. And if you want to look at the response, you can check it out. But it's just going to be a bunch of JavaScript code that you probably don't know what it is. And then, but that's not the important part. The important part is it's coming back, right? You don't have to be able to know what that is. So the next thing then we have Google Tag Services, or no, we look at the m2d.m2.ai. So let's, same thing, m2d. We have, here's the call, and then the header going out. We see this is the URL, it matches this, which is good. The status is 200, which means the call went through, which is also good. And then if you want, you can check out what is waiting on our side of this call. So you can see there's some GDPR code here. And then right here, the MonetizeMore config. This is all the config code that would go for header bidding if this publisher was using header bidding. You can check that out whenever you like. There's a lot of cool info in there. And then the last thing we got is Google Tag Services. Same thing. We're just going to type in Google Tag. We're going to see this GPT, which is kind of a clue that we're on the right track. Look at the header, matches, right, looks good. Status 200, it means it went through. We're good to go. So this page works without cookie wrap, and now we just need to make sure that it works with cookie wrap. Okay, so now we're going to look at the cookie wrap side of this and make sure everything that we just moved over from on-page scripts to the cookie wrap function works properly. So the same thing, we're going to take our script, we're going to save it, and then we're going to open it as HTML. But what we want to do is make sure that the pop-up is working. So we're going to change the URL to PG_GDPR equals, and then in this case we're just going to use equals pop-up. And this should give us, no matter what, the consent pop-up. And here we go. So now we're going to open up our DevTools, open up Network tab, reload the page. You see we don't have anything loading, right? The only thing we have is PGJS, which is the PubGuru DataGuard system, which works, right? Because this pop-up came up. So now we want to see, do these scripts load? We have Google Syndication, the tracking pixel, we have, or the tracking tool, we have Tag Manager, we have GPT, aka DFP, and then we also have our header bidding config. So once we click this consent button, theoretically these network calls should all go out properly. Okay, well, look, we have network calls, and we can just check them. So let's check Google Tag Manager first. It looks like there it is, and I'm just taking a shortcut here. You can see on the right, it kind of gives you the URL. We also see this also went out to Google Tag Services as well, so we can see that the DFP call works properly. Now let's check to see if the header bidding config worked. Yeah, there's the call. There's a response. And then you don't have to look at the response. If you get a 200 OK, it means you're good. So it looks like these all went out, right? We have page add 2. There you go. So you normally probably wouldn't like meticulously go through all these this way. You would just kind of look like you can see on the page here, right? These are all just there. You have ads by Google GPT, you have your header bidding config, pub ads, the stuff's all going on, so it looks good. The important part is to make sure that this is actually working. Whenever you append this pop-up, these should not be going out until someone clicks this button. So right now the only thing that's going out is the call to our DataGuard stuff. See what it looks like we have. Yeah, and that's totally fine too. So these things are all okay. And as soon as you click, now we're calling all of our analytics, all of our tag manager, all that stuff. So that's pretty much how it works when you're testing. You can also test, if you're having a hard time seeing the network calls, you can also look in sources. And these would be once the calls are done. This is just giving you like the responses. And you'll see it's the same thing. So you have your CDN PubGuru, you have m2d.m2.ai, which is our config. You have the Google tracking service. You have GPT here, secure ads. You have tag manager stuff here. So you can use that. You can use this too if you want to. I like to just check the network calls because you can see them going out in real time, but these are both pretty much as good as each other. So it's up to your personal preference. Yeah, this about covers how to test out your code. Best of luck, and feel free to reach us with any questions. Thanks.
That concludes our video for today. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel to get updates on our latest videos. See you next time.